Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we are actually going over part 10 of the Mica Miller investigation. And if you are here because of the thumbnail or the title of me going to Solid Rock Church, then just stay tuned because I'm going to be sharing the videos that I did get while there. I was only there for a few minutes, and I'll just tell you all the backstory why here in a second. But we are going to do part 10, and today we are going to review a lot of Robbie Harvey because his Facebook, it's like he has like minute per minute, hour by hour updates on the Mica Miller investigation, which is wonderful. So I continue to look at his Facebook because a lot of creators, like on TikTok, for example, that I've seen and used as a reference, they're kind of dying down from the investigation, which I'm not saying is a bad thing by any means, because this is so deep. And as I said at the very beginning, I've found myself very, very invested. And for some people, it's just overwhelming, right? So a lot of creators, as I just said, have kind of like fallen off a little bit to, do normal life things, which is completely fine. But I really think it is imperative that we still continue to talk about it. So we don't have a whole lot of to update from what the FBI has been investigating. So what we do know is that the FBI is still having the Solid Rock financials and JP's financials under investigation. So that's great because, like I said at the very, very beginning, we need to follow the money. They need to follow the money because if they follow the money, they're going to find just so much, right? So as I said, we're going to watch some Robbie Harvey videos, some of his YouTube videos, and then we're also going to go back to the True Crime which we kind of discovered in part 9. So we're going to go back to her TikTok and watch some of, the only reason why we're going to watch it because it is JP speaking about things, and it's a little unhinged and just, I don't know, man. It's weird. It's weird to hear him speak because, like I said, in part 9, it is very, well, she was super, super happy with me. But then when she went outside of me, then she became unhappy. And that's like, you understand that's a huge ass red flag, right? Like, nobody believes that. So a few things to kind of update y'all on that we're going to watch in the videos. I know I had spoken about it in part 9, to see if my husband would drive us to the Robeson County Sheriff's Department for that protest, but we didn't know the time, and I tried to look everywhere to see if we could find a time for it, and I couldn't find one. It just said on that given Saturday, so we just went in the middle of the day, and nobody was there, and I'll kind of put a little clip of what I got. Nobody was there, so we just turned around. But this weekend we decided to go to Myrtle Beach for the first time. It's about 2 hours away from Fort Liberty, and I realized that Solid Rock was in Myrtle Beach. So I just tippy tapped on my GPS for shits and gigs, and it happened to be 5 minutes away. So I was like, hey, would you, because we left on a Sunday, and I was like, would you mind if we just kind of went that way? Which I always thought Solid Rock at Market Common was the weirdest name for a church, because my brain was like, what is Market Common? What does that have to do with biblical anything? But I realized Market Common because there's a huge ass sign that says Market Common. It's the nice part of town, and beautiful condos, just a pretty part. But that whole section is called Market Common. So when I saw that, I was like, oh man, okay, that makes so much more sense because the name of the church was freaking stupid. So it's Solid Rock. Okay. Anywho, so my husband was like, yeah, we can definitely swing by. And I'm so thankful that it was on a Sunday that we did, because I was just going to kind of like film the church. But he parked and he was like, get out. I was like, oh, I just wanted to film. He was like, no. You need to go talk to some people. And I'm like, aye, Captain. So he kicked me out of the car, which I'm thankful, because I'm going to be honest with you. I was a little, not intimidated by any means, but I was like, oh shit. I wasn't prepared to like speak. I wasn't prepared to interview. But once I got out, and we were leaving the hotel, so I just had no makeup on. I had a whatever shirt on and, socks with sandals, and we had a 2-hour drive, you understand. So I wasn't necessarily prepared, but I'm really happy that he was like, no, you're very invested in this. You really need to talk to those people. And I was like, you're not wrong. So I got out of the car and I asked some of the protesters, I was like, hey, do you mind if I film you? And they were like, no, that's literally why we're here. But, I just wanted to be nice. So I filmed a little bit, and then I spoke to a few of the protesters. The first one that I did speak to, I didn't press record until we were kind of in the conversation. I did not film her while we were speaking. It was towards the ground. I wasn't sure how she felt, so I just put it to the ground, and I was just conversating with her. And then I went, so you're gonna see that they have a barricade now. So there's a barricade next to the sidewalk where the church is, and then there's the road, and then there's another barricade, and the police officers were there. And it was alleged that those police officers were paid for by JP and Solid Rock, which it's not a bad thing to, pay officers if it's like a off-duty officer wanting to do like a security thing, which is not a bad thing by any means, but it's looking, I don't know, it's looking a bit biased, and it's looking, whatever. Again, everything revolves around money. If you follow the money, the police officers are getting money from Solid Rock, allegedly. So it's like, of course, they're going to be somewhat biased and protect them or whatever. So it was about 2 weeks ago, there were protesters there, and one of the men who work with JP, who goes to the church, which we're going to get into, he sprayed the protesters with a hose, with one of their sprinklers. And so out of that, whoever those people were did press charges, and as of right now, as of yesterday, because I just looked on Robbie Harvey's Facebook, and he was just arrested. He was arrested today. So, because he turned himself in. So, some of the videos that we're going to see is going to explain that a little more. But he is deep in with JP as this other woman that we'll talk about. Her name is Tricia, I do believe. She is also, super deep with JP, okay? So, as I said at the beginning, there's no, new update when it comes to actually Mica Miller's investigation. However, what is coming more to light, which is great, is the close-knit circle around JP and JP himself. Which, I believe once we get into that and find more out about that, then it's going to blossom into, it's all going to run together, right? Into Mica Miller's investigation, into Solid Rock. It's all going to come to one, I think. So, as of yesterday, he had 5 warrants out for this man's arrest, okay? Because of the assault of the sprinkler, which, is it technically, legally, a assault? Sure. But, come on. It was hot. Whatever. Okay. So, while I was there yesterday, I did film a little bit of the police officers walking up to the door, because you'll also hear that one of the protesters was like, it is alleged that they were going to do an arrest today, but it's not JP, it's for the other guy. It's for Waterboy, is what they were calling him. And when I was filming, they were walking up to the door because this man, I forgot his name, but this man stayed in the church until like the very, very last second. So I was thinking that they were going inside so they could make the arrest, but that just didn't happen. It happened way after we had left. And so JP was there and JP's dad. His dad was also there at the church that morning. And so we'll also see that when they exited, they've been usually exiting by the protesters, but this time they all went through the back to bypass the protesters. So like I said, there was a barricade here, the road's in the middle, and the police officers had suggested that the protesters stay on the other side for their safety. But there were some over in this side, but then the ones that are yelling justice for Mica are the ones closest to the church. But we have to remember that a church is not private property. It's all public. So that's why it's like, hey, and one of the ladies that I did speak to, she was like, it seems like our rights are being taken away, and they're being a lot more biased with, solid rock. And then because they were, spraying or whatever. And so they also put a trailer right in front of the side of vision of the church. But if you take 2 steps to the right or the left, you can see everything. It was weird. Like, it is super strange tactic. Like, strange. But that is also something you'll see. So we have updates on that man, which we'll talk about. JP also explains the video of him on the ground from what was that, 2015, 2017, when him and his first wife were getting a divorce, and him on the ground sounding like Jim Carrey in Liar Liar, that one. He does give a reasoning, like what had happened for him to do that, which is comical because it's like, what are you doing? And he has 2 or 3 more videos of him talking, like giving explanations over different things. So we're going to watch that. I just wanted to give you a quick synopsis of what we're going to talk about and what we're going to listen to today. And it's funny because they didn't, which we'll get into, but they didn't end up making the arrest, even though he had 5 warrants out. 5 warrants out for his arrest, the water boy. They didn't make the arrest because the officer said, he was speaking to a protester, and he said he's fragile, he's 81 years old, he has whatever, if he does not turn himself in tomorrow, which would be Monday, today, then we'll be finding him and making that arrest. That man, like, the cops got duped, and I'm allegedly, in my opinion, I think they got duped by freaking JP, because they were saying he was an 81-year-old fragile man. This man is 67 years old and walks perfectly fine. So the cops got duped, and I would imagine they feel a little silly for giving into it, right? So let's go ahead and get into the very first video that we're going to watch, and it is, who is Tricia Ross? So, as I said, JP's inner circle is quite literally crumbling, and it's beautiful to watch. So let's get into who is Tricia Ross. And I do apologize if the video, the YouTube video that we're about to watch, the audio sounds just a little off. I have found out, I've learned how to take the background music out of it so we can actually watch it, and I don't have to like pause it every 2 seconds for copyright issues. So I have to isolate the voice and it might just kind of sound a little twingy, but bear with me. I can take the background audio out so I don't have to like speed it up or whatever. So just so you're aware.
The story of John Paul Miller and the passing of his wife Mica becomes more strange every single day. And when it's as complicated as this one, that means there's more than one player in the game. Introducing Tricia Ross, the right hand of John Paul Miller. If it involves John Paul and Solid Rock Church, then it involves Tricia Ross.
So you mean that I can use my debit card, or I can use my Visa, or even my MasterCard?
From who's on the worship team to contracts, and according to some sources, some of the financials of Solid Rock Church, Tricia Ross has been a part of Solid Rock for over 15 years. And many say she knows just as much as John Paul Miller.
I'm about to myself, and I just want my family to know where to find me.
Remember, according to police, on the afternoon of April 27th, 2024, Mica Miller, the wife of Pastor John Paul Miller, took her own life in a North Carolina state park. Later that evening, John Paul Miller found out about his wife's death via a phone call from authorities.
Oh, and we're also going to watch, because Solid Rock, they actually deleted the sermon that JP gave when he told the congregation, hey, my wife herself, and it was self-induced, and blah, blah, blah. So we're also going to listen to what he had preached on that morning, because nobody knew. It was like, what could you have possibly preached on the day after? Well, was the day after? Like, the day after you found out that your wife had committed suicide. Like, what on earth could you have taught your congregation? And so we're also going to watch that because Robbie Harvey found it.
It's in North Carolina. Tricia Ross immediately rushed to John Paul's house. She was one of 5 people there, listening in to the phone call from authorities as they described the scene, specifically the crime scene. Now, I call it a crime scene because with every agency I've ever dealt with, if it involves a death, it's considered a crime until a proper investigation is done. But on this night, authorities from Robeson County were giving out details of that scene to complete strangers they had never met before. And according to multiple sources, Tricia Ross allegedly began talking quickly. She began giving details to other people before John Paul Miller even met with authorities.
So right now, we're all going to lift his arms up. And if everybody could lift your arms in support of our pastor.
Tricia Ross knows a lot. She's part of John Paul's inner circle. Take this for example. Yesterday, John Paul Miller released this information about March 11th.
On March 11th, remember that date because you super sleuths out there are going to need to know that date for the future. But on March 11th, something happened that kind of forever changed the course of our lives.
According to sources, John Paul Miller's private investigator was allegedly tracking Mica that day. When the investigator found Mica, he allegedly called John Paul, and John Paul did not like what he had to hear. But according to reports and messages provided to the FBI, Tricia Ross allegedly knew that the private investigator was tracking Mica also. Tricia Ross allegedly knew about the phone call that the private investigator had with John Paul Miller. And Tricia Ross allegedly knew John Paul Miller did not like what he heard, and he went into a rage. Hours after the events of March 11th, Mica Miller called police, reporting that her tires were slashed.
When she went to Africa this time, she just fell in love. That was her heart.
Despite saying such nice things about Mica in a local news interview
I didn't see tears. Did you? I didn't.
days after her death, Tricia Ross has not always been kind to Mica's family. Back in 2023, she sent this cease and desist message to the family of Mica Miller, saying that if they don't
cease and desist text message, ma'am, that's not how that works at all.
Stop saying bad things about John Paul Miller and Solid Rock Church, they would seek financial damages. Just weeks after that message was sent, Mica left John Paul Miller to go stay with her sister in Kansas. But according to multiple sources, Tricia Ross would allegedly reach out to Mica every time she left John Paul, telling her to be a good, godly wife and to return to her husband. But the cease and desist letter wasn't the only negative thing Tricia has sent the family of Mica Miller. Just days after that interview where she said all these nice things about Mica, she also sent a message to the Francis family.
Let's read this real fast. It says, "Hello all. Sorry to bother you. Oh my God. Okay. Hold, please. Hello all. Sorry to bother you. I've had nothing but love for Mica and everyone. Now someone has gone to my family with accusations about pastor, and that's just not fair. You're destroying my family, and that's just not right. I've been praying for all of you. I didn't know people could be so retaliatory. Yeah, okay. I didn't know people could be so retaliatory. I know there is severe hurt and I can't make that better, but please stop. And if there is someone he has done wrong, let the authorities handle it or show the proof. All these posts and accusations and no proof is just so hard to see. I continue to pray for healed hearts."
Tricia Ross blamed the Francis family for all the problems in her life. She also said that everything John Paul Miller was accused of was false, with no proof.
Walk away.
I'll show you the pictures.
Do you want to go to jail?
They'll be on Facebook in a few hours.
Alrighty, you'll be in jail in a few hours.
But once John Paul Miller's past sins became public, with proof, Tricia Ross went on the attack, going after complete strangers from the internet.
Okay, coward. If you want to talk to me, I'll be happy to talk to you in person. So go with your threats and whatever else you need to do. But I am not fearful of anyone, and don't bring my family into anything.
So why is Tricia Ross so dedicated to John Paul Miller and Solid Rock Church? Well, many say it's because of her husband, who died of cancer several years ago. To this day, John Paul Miller and Solid Rock Church calls her husband Superman. And Tricia Ross has said that the church saved her when she lost her husband. Or is her unwavering love for the church a financial one? According to multiple sources, John Paul Miller and Solid Rock Church allegedly pay for Tricia Ross's personal bills. But as a result of standing by John Paul Miller, it seems Tricia Ross's family has severed ties with her. According to multiple Facebook posts by the family, seems Tricia Ross is not even allowed to see her grandchildren.
Well, we have a situation, folks. Under her previous name, Tricia Island, and she had charges of breach of trust with fraudulent intent, value at $5,000 or more.
And it seems the burdens of Tricia Ross's life is affecting her. A few weeks ago, she sent this text message suggesting that she was going to end her life. As a result, a wellness check was requested by those who were concerned for her safety. And not long ago, Tricia Ross was seen sitting on the beach all by herself. And what's interesting about this beach, it's the same beach where Mica Miller found her tires slashed. And now there's this. According to multiple sources, the FBI is not only very interested in John Paul Miller, but they're very interested in Tricia Ross also. Considering Tricia Ross has her own criminal past for stealing money, it makes sense as to why the FBI may be looking into her. But how much will they find when it comes to her involvement with John Paul Miller and the inner workings of Solid Rock Church?
Alright, what do y'all think? I think it is a mixture of she loves JP, loves JP, and is very infatuated with him, and she is just another one of JP's manipulated women, or it's just money. I think it's both. Okay, this video is entitled John Paul Miller, Text of Evil.
There's new information in a threatening text message that was sent to a potential witness in a John Paul Miller case a few weeks ago. But first, take a look at this check. As many of you know, this check was written and sent to an informant allegedly hired by John Paul Miller to dig up dirt on anyone speaking out against him and Solid Rock Church. In an alleged text message exchange between John Paul Miller and the informant, he's looking to dig up information on people like myself who is covering the story. Now, John Paul Miller will claim he was simply seeking for information so he can prepare for a defamation lawsuit. John Paul Miller believes he's being defamed in the media and on social media by people like myself. And John Paul may have a legitimate argument in the information he was seeking through the informant, if it wasn't for the next text message that I'm about to show you. I've blurred out parts of this message because the details are the darkest secrets of this woman's life. And remember, this woman is...
Oh my god. His picture is Yep, that's Spider-Man playing a piano. That is Spider-Man playing a piano.
It's a potential witness. But as you can tell, JP was allegedly looking for information in regards to her sex life. That's right, John Paul Miller is allegedly using church funds to learn more about the sex lives of women. Now back to the threatening text.
Okay, this says, "Hey, you seem like a genuine and nice woman, so I felt like I should warn you. Mica sent her husband a lot of texts about your past that will be coming out soon. You may want to prepare those who are close to you. I'm so sorry."
Text messages sent a few weeks ago to a potential witness for the FBI. The text was sent from a burner phone or a made-up number. But here's what's key. The details in that message are the same details John Paul Miller sent to the informant. That woman's past, her darkest secrets, are only known by a few people in the world. And one of those people was John Paul Miller. The same details in two separate messages from two different phone numbers. And then this past week, at Solid Rock Church, John Paul Miller accidentally reveals something interesting. Remember, John Paul Miller literally turned sprinklers on the protesters.
He's spraying us with the hose! Look at this! Look what he's doing! No people, no church! No people, no church! No people, no church! No people, no church! He just sprayed them all in the face with the hose.
We'll be out here till you're in handcuffs, buddy. We'll be out here till you're in handcuffs. We'll be out here till you're in handcuffs. That's the bottom line.
Justice for Mica!
It feels good! Blood is on your hands!
On your hands!
Mica's blood is on your hands! Mica's blood is on your hands! Mica's blood is on your hands! Mica's blood is on your hands!
Mica's blood is on your hands!
Mica's blood is on your hands! Mica's blood is on your hands!
For somebody who is so innocent and didn't do anything wrong, him hearing that Micah's blood is on your hands, and he's just and he just mocks it and he just laughs at it. Like, it's so gross, dude. Like, allegedly, in my opinion, there is no way that he didn't have anything to do with this. Like, you can't pay me, you can't convince me otherwise. I don't care what he puts on social media. I don't care, man. Like, we have not seen him cry. We haven't seen him grieve. We haven't seen him, I mean, grief. Like, no signs of grief at all. At all. All that we've heard of him, like, putting on social media, all that we've heard is how great Mica was when she was with me. But with the Francis family, that's when she needed her medication. It's all, I did this, she loved me, I was the most important person in her life, and trying to get her not to kill herself for the last 3 months. And then she gets in the with her family again, and then she does it. It wasn't me. It was, so there's just no grief. There's no, just absolute nothing that looks like he's sad about it. You know, it's actually psychotic.
Mica's blood is on your hands. Mica's blood is on your hands.
But after doing so, he walked away. And people noticed something when he walked away. Take a look. John Paul Miller reaches in his back right pocket, and it looks like he pulls out a phone. And then he puts that phone back and reaches in his back left pocket, and it looks like he pulls out another phone. 2 phones being carried by John Paul Miller. 2 messages with the same details of a woman's past from 2 different phones. Police on multiple levels are investigating the messages, and the FBI now has the information. And they're also investigating Tricia Ross's involvement. Remember, Tricia Ross is the right-hand person for John Paul Miller. If it involves Solid Rock Church and John Paul Miller, Tricia Ross knows about it. She's the one who wrote the check. The question is, did she know that church funds were being used to dig up the sexual lives of women? If so, this could spell big trouble for Tricia Ross.
Okay, now we're going to watch John Paul Miller's Lost Sermon, which is the sermon that Solid Rock deleted off their YouTube and or website, the live streaming of their church services. They deleted it for some reason. Okay. And so they finally found it. Robbie Harvey received it from somebody else who found it, and so now we're going to watch it.
A YouTube channel by the name of Check My Church has obtained the lost sermon of John Paul Miller in Solid Rock Church. This is the sermon that John Paul preached just hours after the death of his wife, Mica. Remember, according to police, Mica Miller took her own life in a North Carolina state park just hours before this sermon. And keep this in mind, John Paul Miller, her husband, has yet to see her body or meet with officials when he takes the stage on Sunday, April the 28th. So let's take a look at this sermon. And keep in mind, like I said, his wife lays in a morgue as he preaches.
John Paul Miller has also said at the pulpit, on stage, to his congregation, whatever I am preaching about is exactly what I'm going through in my life. Whatever, if you want to know the inside of my life, just listen to my sermons, because I'm preaching from like that. So I haven't seen this before, so I wonder if you could kind of I don't know. Let's just watch it.
When you feel like holding a grudge, don't do it because it affects others. When you feel like being stingy, don't do it because it affects others. When you feel like, just throwing in the towel and taking the easy way out, don't do it because it affects more than just your life. It affects the people around us.
This part is truly astonishing to hear because, remember, John Paul Miller holds quite the grudge against his wife. and especially now, her family. Just days before this sermon, John Paul Miller placed tracking devices through a private investigator on his wife's car. John Paul Miller allegedly slashed her tires. John Paul Miller allegedly posted a topless photo of his wife on social media. And now, listen to this.
So, y'all know Al Capone, right? Some of y'all Northerners remind me of Al Capone. Anyway, so Al Capone, he was in charge of the mafia, right? Well, he had a lawyer. His lawyer's name was Easy Eddie, which I wouldn't mind having him as a lawyer. But anyway, Easy Eddie had no integrity. He would do anything to keep Capone out of jail. He was very successful, and he was compensated greatly for his efforts.
Again, truly astonishing that John Paul Miller is even mentioning such a story. Remember, his wife is in a morgue as he tells his story. He has not seen her body.
And as a pastor, to say, I wish I had a lawyer with zero integrity who would do anything and everything to keep me out of... That's not what a Christian man says.
He hasn't met with anybody. He has not met with a single official. And he's not shown throughout this whole sermon any sign of remorse. And he just keeps on going.
In other words, he was making an eternal decision versus an earthly decision. And a lot of our decisions we make nowadays, it's like, what feels good right now? What can I do now? But some of the decisions you make, you may not see them on earth, that the good things come on earth, but they're eternal decisions.
When saying that, he's fully aware of the decisions that he has made leading up to this sermon. And I think we can all agree, and it's certainly my opinion, that he has made plenty of terrible decisions since the death of his wife.
There are some Christian denominations, I was raised to believe that if you do commit suicide, if you do kill yourself, you don't go to heaven. If you kill yourself, you are damned to hell. However, I don't believe that now, just to be clear. But that's how I was raised. The doctrine I was raised under. But there are Christian denominations that do not believe that if you are still saved and you kill yourself, then you're going to go to heaven. So I think this denomination believes that, but the way that he is talking, it's like, this isn't an earthly decision, this is an eternal decision. So I wonder if he even thinks that Mica went to heaven. I don't know.
Part of this sermon, it's as if he's preparing the congregation for what's to come. He plays a voicemail from his grandmother.
John Paul, this is Donna. Just wanted to give you a call and tell you, don't you ever give up preaching unless God wants you to. Don't listen to all these mouths that try to come against you. Just trust God for your life and your preaching, because you're too good to ever give it up. From what I could hear, you are absolutely wonderful. I just wish I could hear you too, my darling. God loves you. You just trust him with whatever is going on. Don't let the devil take anything from you, honey. Stand your ground.
And setting up his congregation continues.
This will really enlighten you, I think. Have you ever heard of the Kennedy curse? Okay, now I'm going to teach you something. This is just from the past 100 years. I could have gone further, but I don't have time in the sermon to do it. But just in the past 100 years, Joseph Kennedy Jr. died in an aircraft explosion. Kathleen Kennedy died in a plane crash. JFK was assassinated. Robert Kennedy was assassinated. Michael Kennedy died in a skiing accident. JFK Jr. died in a plane crash. Ethel Kennedy's parents died in a plane crash. Ted Kennedy accidentally drove his car off of a bridge. Now, let me just tell you, that's just in the past 100 years of this family line. That's not bad luck. That's not a coincidence. That is a spiritual force trying to destroy that bloodline. And I hope that you are wise enough to recognize what the enemy is trying to do to destroy your bloodline, so you can be strong and to make the right choice when it comes against you.
That is so insane. insane that he preaches, which is a little snippets of it, but the subject matter of what he preaches, hours after, like what Robbie Harvey said, he hadn't even seen her yet. Like, even if you were separated, and even if, you know, you're about to get a divorce, whatever, just like hearing that your used to be partner, I guess, like, just committed like, it died in any type of capacity, they die. Like, you would, like, I feel like you would be there, like, as soon as possible. Like, you wouldn't go to work that next day. You wouldn't live your life the same. Like, it's so gross. It's so weird. I hate it, and it's just screaming red flags. So what I'll do now is insert the videos that I took when I went to the protest yesterday. So I'll go ahead and insert those here.
Yeah, they were saying that the police said that we couldn't be over there, but then they made a
That's a public sidewalk.
then it would be best for you to do so. But they keep trying to take our rights away. They'll overlook what the church members do, and like JP set his alarms off on his truck intentionally over and over and over. They never said a word, but they stopped somebody that blew their horn. They were pulling people over to give them tickets if they blew their horn.
Wow.
Yeah. When the lady came out and grabbed one of the girls' arms, the officer was blaming the protesters for yelling in her ear. She came directly out to us. She said, "This is for you," and grabbed her arm. And she's like, "Don't touch me." And the officer refused to do anything and pretended to act like, what? I don't understand.
But they are being paid by JP in the Solid Rock.
That guy, I have no idea.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
That was last
but
week.
these police officers are.
Yeah, that's what they were saying. They talked to one of them, I don't know who, and it's not surprising because we felt like through the weeks that the officers were not here unbiased for everybody. Like you had that whole feeling like they're there for the church.
Sure. Yeah.
Which doesn't mean it's a bad thing. They have
Right.
it right, but to you know, where's our representation that's taking care of us?
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Is JP there right now? Is his truck over there?
It might be further down. It looks like Randall's already left. If you saw a black Mercedes, he's already left. JP, I think, is parked down at the end.
Oh, okay.
He's in a blue shirt today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. It's insane that people still go to that church.
Oh,
it's crazy.
They're choosing ignorance.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Thank you for speaking with me. I want to cross the street and go over there.
Yeah,
Do y'all mind if I record y'all?
No.
Okay. I just want.
Justice for Mica! Justice for Mica! Justice for Mica! Justice for Mica! Justice for Mica!
Justice for Mica!
Justice for Mica! Justice for Mica! Justice for Mica!
Can y'all tell me the difference between being over here and over there? Like, what's going on?
We're not 100% sure. There's an officer that the group has worked with. Supposedly this is for our protection.
Oh, okay.
They suggested we stay over here.
But they cannot force us to stay.
Sure. Yeah. Right.
Justice for Mica! Mica!
And these police officers are allegedly paid for by the
Correct.
church.
That's what we understand. We also understand that there's should maybe be
An arrest
today after church.
Oh, okay.
Not of the one that everybody.
Sure. Yeah, but of the
sprinkler guy.
Right. Yeah.
Whatever they called him, sprinkler boy.
Yeah, whatever.
Sprinkler boy.
I'm pretty sure he's in.
Justice for Mica!
Mm-hmm.
Justice for Mica!
Wow.
Justice for Mica!
I think it's.
Justice for Mica!
They must be coming.
Justice
Yep,
for
here we
Mica! Justice for Mica!
What did he say? I couldn't hear him.
They're just trying to make sure that we cover. Oh, I thought he said there was a police.
Justice for Mica! Justice for Mica! Justice for Mica!
So we're going to go through some of the pictures that Robbie Harvey has put on his Facebook page. So this is the barricades that the police put up for the safety of the protesters. That's the trailer that I was telling y'all that was supposed to, like, I don't know what this proved. Like, I don't know if they were trying to load something up and they just put it in the sidewalk, or it doesn't make sense. But it's kind of like what a child would do, in my opinion, of like, well, I'll just put this right here so you can't see it. But when you're an adult, you're like, hey, freaking jackwagon, I'll just go around it. That's what it seems like. And those are the police that were there yesterday. And if you've seen the video that I took from Solid Rock, and those are the same vehicles. So this one right here, he posted about how real leaders don't go like through the back, because that's JP's vehicle, and he went through the back way so he wouldn't have to go through the protesters. So this video that we're gonna watch, I'll read you the caption here. Robert, the man who sprayed protesters last week, was supposed to be arrested today after church. He has 5 warrants. So this was yesterday. John Paul Miller seemed agitated by this and spent a lot of time with police after church. As a result, officers decided not to put Robert in handcuffs because he's too frail. He hid inside the church well after service was over. Once he finally came out, he left through the back to avoid protesters. According to officers, he will turn himself in the morning.
Health problems in our jail. That's why. Okay? And we would do the same for anybody out here if they had done that in reverse. And that's sense. So he's going to turn himself in the morning, or we're going to pick him up if he doesn't. And then at that point.
And I'm a 30-year-old woman who is a sexual assault.
I'm going to stop you right here. We did that because he's an 81-year-old man.
You hear that? Because he's an 81-year-old man who has health problems. The guy's 67 years old. These police officers allegedly, in my opinion, they only took what I'm going to say, JP, what they told him at face value and didn't do their own research. And I bet they feel dumb. 67. He's 67. Not 81.
He's got health problems. Compassion is part of it, but at the same time, if something happens in the jail, then we have to sit with him in the hospital. It takes another officer off the street. So he's going to turn himself in tomorrow. If he chooses not to, he's got that choice. Then we can pick him up and go to that. Okay?
Oh yeah. So this guy right here, I saw him yesterday. My husband pointed him out. He's been dressing like Jesus. Like, and he was staying there all day long. I'm not sure like if he was but he was just there talking to people, but he's dressing like Jesus. Okay, so here it is. I forgot how to pronounce his stupid last name. He could look 81. That's crazy. He's He's 67 and he looks 81. That's nuts. Gross. Okay, so Robert Wayne has been arrested. Primary charge, assault, and battery, 3rd degree. That's crazy. But, I mean, obviously, you know, JP's most likely gonna bail him out. So, there was this huge debacle over the tattoos that JP has. And somebody took a picture of him at the beach, because it was the one that says Mica Miller on each side. And there's this huge debacle that the tattoo was fake, because whoever was at the beach took a picture of him and they couldn't find it. So we're going to watch a video of him being unhinged and saying, no, I have the tattoo, whatever. So we're going to watch that as well. Okay, here's the post we saw in part 9 when he was talking about the Mica Miller tattoo. And this post says, Mica tattoo a fake. Normally, it's absolute nonsense to share things like this, and to be honest, I don't like it, but considering the accusations John Paul Miller has thrown towards the Francis family, unfortunately, the post is important as it adds another layer in the battle of words and accusations. Miller was spotted at the beach today with no Mica tattoo in sight. 2 weeks ago, Miller addressed accusations made by Michael Francis that he branded Mica with a tattoo of his name on her body. In the video, he lifted his shirt and showed an apparent tattoo of Mica's name on the right rib cage while saying, then what would you say, Michael, about this? Revealing the tattoo. Today, it appears the tattoo is gone. I've added another pic showing the left side of his body, which, number 1, disgusting. Gross. Let's get it. Wonderful. Okay. So, you can't see it. And there's the left side as well. There's the right. Can't see. I mean, sure, it's like really under his armpit, it looks like, but I feel like you should be, maybe it's his arm, I don't know. Okay, anywho, so now we're going to watch the True Crime with her TikToks that he has posted. And then, like, in part 9, he expressed that he is giving his videos to True Crime and she's posting it on her page. So we still don't know whose side she's on. I'm not sure if she's being, not sure if she's being like super, super nice to him, trying to get information out, or she's on like his side. I'm not sure. But whatever the case may be, we're getting information out. So we're going to start with this video here.
Hey, today's video is for all of the people who've been emailing me from around the world, telling me their struggles, personal stories of mental illness, as well as the stories of people whom they love who battle with mental illness. And the same story is throughout every single email, and that is, when you start feeling really, really good, you want to come off your medicine because you think you don't need it. So listen, the reason you feel good is because you're on your medicine. Don't come off your medication. Over the years, my wife was prescribed lithium, Seroquel, olanzapine, and lamotrigine, something like that. But my goal, I had one goal every day of my life for 7 years, and that was to make sure that she took her medicine so that she could enjoy her life and live a very fulfilled, prosperous life like she did when she was with me. Away from me and with her family, she came off of her medicine, lost 40 pounds in a month. And
see, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. With me, she was good. With me, she was the best. But when she was with her family, that's when it got bad. I mean, Mica Miller, in the few pictures and videos we've seen, she seemed, healthy looking from the outside. But who's to say that it was a good 40 pounds loss? You know what I mean? Because we don't know what she looked like the whole time that they were together. So maybe she did add on a few, unhealthy pounds, and maybe when she got away from JP, she was no longer like stressed and anxious, and it was good. Maybe so. We don't really know that to be certain. But 40 pounds is a lot, and if you are naturally thinner, or if you're thinner regardless, 40 pounds, that is. So we don't necessarily know if that was like a healthy and or an unhealthy thing that happened. But that's besides the point right here. He's just like, with me, this was good. Like, only with me, but with her family, which I don't believe that. Absolutely at all. I know I think I've touched on this before, but I was in a very, very abusive relationship at one point in my life, and he took me away from my family, and he did brainwash me to believe that my family was the outside, like was out to get me. So I was all consumed with this man, and to the point where I didn't talk to my family. I didn't have a relationship with them for like 2.5 years, which is heartbreaking. But then once I got out of the relationship, I was like, oh shit. Oh my God. Like this isn't healthy. Like, this isn't healthy at all. Like, this is bad. So it took me getting out. So, I mean, but his mentality was, when she's with me, that's the best. Like, when she's with her family, absolutely not. They don't care about her. They want the worst for her. I want the best for her. It's us against the world kind of mentality. But what he speaks is, I think a lot of us girls, a lot of us women rather, which is so sad to say, but we understand this, which sucks. That we can all, like, bond over this, but it's true. So, yeah.
Did something that I regret she did, something I tried to prevent for the past 3 months, but somehow with her family she was able to accomplish that. And so a lawyer said something months and months ago. He said, the guilty person is the person who talks the most. I said, what do you mean? He said, the guilty person, in any situation, the guilty one is the one that's always out.
Dude, if my daughter ended up doing this same thing, you could not keep me from speaking. You could not shut me up. If my niece and or my daughters ever did, it would be a cold day in hell before I would stop talking about this. So this logic is flawed, and it's actually stupid. Actually stupid.
They're talking the most. So just look at that person, because Robbie Stinky Harvey is raising money for the person who's responsible for my wife's death. He's raising money for the person who told my wife she didn't need her medicine. She didn't have to take it anymore. Her doctor was wrong. Her husband's abusive for asking her to take her medicine every single night. And what happened was she lost 40 pounds in a month. She purchased something that I tried to stop for 3 months, and she...
Yeah, 40 pounds a month is a lot.
did something that I tried to stop for years.
But it's also coming from JP, so God knows if that is even true.
And so if you're unmedicined, like the ones I listed earlier, please, for the sake of your family and friends and loved ones, stay on your medicine unless your doctor tells you otherwise. Not your friends, not your family, your doctor, the one who prescribed the medicine. Please, and God bless.
So now he's being a mental health advocate on social media. Cute.
Hello, Tyler Elizabeth. How are you doing? You asked about when I was sprawled out on the ground on that video from like 10 years ago or something.
This question and or statement is, I would like to hear him explain what was happening in the video where you were sprawled out in the lawn in front of Allison's, because that right there seems like seems like mental illness, which is absolutely true. It is mental illness.
I made a video about this in the beginning or a month ago or something. Anyway, that was me after I had fallen out of a tree. I broke 12 bones, and I was on pain medicine for the first time in my life, like that type of pain medicine, you know. And I just gotten my cast off. I think my body cast had just come off. Everything was body cast. I had all kind of different ways to help me move in life. And I just got off, and I was still on pain medicine. And I took a little bit too many pain meds that day. And yeah, it was a bad day, but that's that.
Okay, so I just looked up, I just Googled like JP Miller, 12 Broken Bones, JP Miller body cast. Absolutely nothing. The only thing that comes up are people talking about it on TikTok. There is absolutely zero proof, anything to back that up. That is actually freaking crazy.
Okay, first of all, whoever took that picture of me on the beach, you gotta let me know ahead of time, man, because I wasn't sucking in my gut. So that's really, really embarrassing. And like 2 years ago, I was in much better shape, okay? But the tattoo is not fake. I got it, I think it was November of last year. And I'll show you. I don't know what side it's on.
How? I don't know if y'all have... Okay, so I have tattoos. Duh. I have never one time got confused as to which side my tattoos are. Ever. And I've had tattoos for a while now. 12 years, to be exact. 12 years I've had tattoos. Never one time have I been like, oh, my side piece is over. Oh, wait, no. It's on this side. That's weird. That's freaking weird.
There it is. My gosh. People, y'all are crazy. I'm serious. Y'all are idiots. I'm going to show you again, okay? Because these are the same shorts I had on at the beach. I just got home, right? I was working a little bit, and then I went to the beach, and there it is. I'm going to try to rub it off. See, it won't rub off because it's real. I got it at Tiki Tattoo on Seaboard Street, and I even put a bunch of cream on there to numb it so it wouldn't hurt.
Well, that's really embarrassing that he had to do that for that little baby thing, which is so crazy. I know we've talked about this before, but he, even at her funeral, her celebration of life, whatever you want to call it, he was like, oh, she wanted me to get a tattoo so badly. But tattoos hurt and I don't like pain. But he has on his fingers, he has scripture verses on his arm. Like, he has tattoos. If you don't like tattoos because it hurts so bad, why are you getting... I mean, he doesn't have a sleeve, but, like, he has tattoos. That's like me saying I don't like tattoos because it hurts. Do they hurt? Yeah, but I'm still gonna get, like... Doesn't make sense.
And whatever idiot said it's fake because of the pictures they saw of me on the beach, they didn't show the right side. They showed the other side.
No, they showed both sides. It was just your arm, you freaking gremlin. Your arm was there. They literally have two pictures of the right side and then the left side when you were laying down. So dumb.
Side, I think, is how you say it. But anyway, man, y'all are so funny. Why in the world would you... I don't understand why you think I'd lie about anything with all this. Why in the world would I...
Why does his voice keep going to a high register? Isn't that weird?
Make a fake tattoo and put it on there.
Remember that his ex-wife filed to have complete custody of her children, that JP would no longer be allowed to see the children, and his dad, Wayne Miller, to no longer see them as well. This is absolutely hinged behavior. This is not real behavior of a father who can't see his children. Like, I wouldn't be talking to anybody else. Like, you'd be freaking heartbroken and trying to get your kid, like, filing whatever you'd file to continue to have 50-50 over your children. You were doing anything and everything you can to keep seeing your children. There's nothing. His name is freaking ruined. Absolutely ruined. He can't see his kids, and he's making videos about, oh, I was in better shape 2 years ago. And who's ever making pictures of this tattoo, it is real, I'm gonna prove it. This is the only thing he's tried to prove over this whole, and it has to do with him, not Mica.
I tell y'all it's real. I just don't get y'all. I just don't get y'all. I don't. I'm telling you. And again, the gut was just a mean thing to do. Hey, seriously, I cannot get over how offended I am that somebody took my picture.
He can't get over how offended he is over the complete unflattering picture, but he's not that offended that he's being accused of having to do with his soon-to-be ex-wife's death, and he's not too offended that he doesn't have custody over his children because his ex-wife is trying to protect her kids and not want the biological father in their lives. He's not offended about that. It's the picture that was unflattering.
My gut was hanging out. Okay, normally when I see the cameras, I suck in really good. So, you dodos, I can't believe y'all think that tattoo's fake. She begged me for years to get that. Years! And I didn't like pain, I didn't like tattoos, and then finally, I did it, and, why would y'all think that'd be, why would I get a fake tattoo? Oh my gosh. Crazy. And what kind of a pathetic person wants to take a picture of me out on the beach and then spend their social media energy saying I have a fake tattoo that wasn't there, wasn't there. Like, you need a job. Like, you need a life. You need to find somebody that loves you. Somebody that can spend their life with you, and y'all can, like, go out and go to the movies and go on dates. Then you need to go to church. Okay, I don't think you're satisfied. So, got wipes, right? Get a wipe. Trying to avoid the whole...
Dude, I feel so bad for his children. How embarrassing. How absolutely embarrassing is this for his kids, which I'm really, really glad that we don't even know what the kids look like. That's wonderful. Or like even their names. That's great. I hope that continues. But how sad that, I mean, everybody around the area probably knows that he's a pastor, knows the kids, so they see this on the internet. God, that's so sad.
Gut picture, because nobody wants to see that. Nobody. You ready? So these won't wipe off. Look, and they're still there. Oh. Right, that's my, anyway. And so all of them, right? Me and Mike had that one was a matching one too.
Yeah, he hated tattoos that much because they were super painful, but look at my whole arm.
You ready? Ready? It's, wait. It's still there. Oh my God. It's still there. Wait, super hard. Still there, buddy. And if Robbie Harvey needs to see it in person, I'll show him. Okay, I've had a chance to calm down, and I need to apologize. So the person that said that the tattoo was fake, and the person that said that I was a pathological liar, I'm sorry for getting mad at you. I'm sorry. You're not stupid. You're not dumb. You're not ignorant. You're not a moron. I can't think of anything else I said. Maybe I just had those thoughts in my head. But just so you know, the tattoo, it's still there. Look, it's still there. I'm outside of our porch, and it's still there.
Dude, it's so gross. It's so gross. So, okay. One more video of JP, and this is very, very interesting because it's the only thing that he's, said kind of about Mica, but it's in relation to money. And just let's watch it. Oh my God.
Hey y'all, I was just sitting here looking at some pictures and videos, of course, of my wife, and couldn't help but come across all the ones that have to do with the mission trips that we went on. I'm not a missionary. I don't like missions trips. I'm a teacher. I like to stay home and teach. but she loved the mission trips, and especially...
That is such a weird thing for a pastor to say. I don't like missions. I do not like missions trips. That's so weird to me.
When she went to Africa last year, when she came back, I picked her up at the airport, and she was overwhelmed with joy. And she came back, she said she wanted to start a school, a Faith First Academy in Africa. And I said, Mica, you can't do that. I said, that's not possible. We don't have the money. We don't have the resources. We don't have the teachers, the curriculum, the location, the place. We don't have it all. Well, that was kind of a challenge for her. And so for the next month...
and that was also a douche thing to say to your wife who wanted to help children. No, we can't do that. We don't have enough money. I have assets in a bar, but you can't help children in Africa. Okay.
And the way, when you communicate with Africa, they're in a completely different time, of course. And so when you send them a message, you don't get a response to the next day, and then you send it, and then the next day. And about a month later, she brought me a notebook. She had the teachers, the location. She even had the lunch lady, someone who was going to bring these children food. And she brought me everything we needed. And she got it down to about $500 a child per year. And then I'm the good guy that's good with financial stuff. And so I was able to get it down to $300.
Are you super good with financial stuff? And that's why the FBI is literally investigating the financials of JP Miller and Solid Rock because you're super good with finances. You're a fucking idiot.
For a year for a child to go to school there. And that includes the food that they get each day. And so we sent a team at the beginning of this year, and we were expecting about 75, maybe 80 kids. The first day we had 150. By the end of the week, we had 300. And now we have about 350 children begging and pleading for us to start our school back in August of this year. And so in honor of Mica, we're doing it. It's her mission. She came up with it. She started it. She did all the work. She prepared the way. She laid the foundation. And so we are sending a team, and we're praying to God that we have enough of what we need to be able to feed the 300 and something kids, curriculum provided, teachers trained, and everything. And we're really, really excited. So that's something we have to look forward to. We'll send you pictures when it comes out. And if you go to dare2caremissions.com, you'll see our website, and that's where Mica...
Does he only own like superhero shirts?
Started, of course. And so if you love Mica, you got to love the people of Jabbrock, because that was her big thing that she enjoyed so much. Thanks.
I just cannot get out of my brain when he just talks about, I mean, being a pastor, regardless. Like, anything that he says on the pulpit, anything that he says about God, about missions, about... all I can think about is him being 25 years old when she... Wait, was it 25 or 35? I don't remember. They're 14 years apart, right? If I remember correctly. She was 14 years old, and he was a grown-ass man. And when she was 18, I cannot get out of my head that he had an affair with the nanny, who was Mica. They had an affair, caused a divorce, then they got married. But he's still a pastor. In what freaking world? In what world are you still pastoring a church when you are getting a divorce from your wife because of infidelity? That doesn't happen, dude. There was another, not a case, but another situation at a different church that I had talked about a few months ago. And it was this pastor who was getting a little friendly. It didn't go to cheating, but they were talking on a daily basis. Another woman of the congregation, as the pastor, he's married, she's married, but they were speaking on a daily basis and hiding messages from their spouses and never got sexual. But even to that extent, he stepped down from being a pastor of that church, and he told his whole congregation what was going on. There was no cheating. It wasn't like sex, but it could have gone that far. It was more emotional, but he stepped down from that. Obviously, that's still not good. But this happens, and he's still pastoring the church. Like, the congregation of Solid Rock are the most brainwashed, ignorant people I have ever freaking come across. There is, I just don't have words for it. It's bananas. But I don't think JP realizes that 99% of people want to see him go to prison. They want to see him, justice for Mica. That's what it is. He doesn't understand that justice for Mica having justice for Mica doesn't end without him being behind bars and him getting arrested and reaping what he has sown. That's justice for Mica. Justice for Mica isn't, oh, well, we're going to get justice for Mica. I do believe it. It was the Francis family. That's not what justice for Mica means, sir. Justice for Mica means you reap what you have sown. Because it is clear to see that there has not been any consequences to his actions for many, many, many years. Right? So I'm gonna go ahead and cut it here. If there's any other updates on the on this investigation or anything that has to do with Solid Rock, I will definitely let y'all know. I've been waiting a little more time in between Mica Miller videos, just because there hasn't been a whole lot coming about like there was months ago, and the FBI hasn't come out and said anything of the things that they have been investigating. So I'm really going to Robbie Harvey because he has insider scoops on a lot of stuff. So if y'all are notified about anything, if you see anything before me, please let me know, and I'll put it in my Mica Miller folder. So when it comes time to do a video, we can touch on it. I will actually put the link to the Francis family. I think it's not going through Robbie Harvey, but he's also putting it on his pages, hit their GoFundMe, so they can continue to fight the good fight for justice for Mica. So I'll put that link in the description box below if that is something that you would feel want to give to. So I do appreciate y'all so very much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.